This is an ordinary photo from the 1940s. But wait, something seems out of place. Who is this man? Why does he look so cool? Obviously, this photo is proof of time travel. Before the 60s, everybody was expected to wear formal clothes whenever they went out in public. But all that changed in the 50s and 60s with a cultural shift. The time travel hypothesis may not be the simplest explanation, but it is a fun one. Someone at Snopes did the research and found out all this clothing was manufactured before this photo was taken, and therefore the outfit is contemporaneous. The shirt with the M is simply a local sports team.
Great Scott!
And so, the myth of the time-traveling hipster is debunked. Or is it? What is a hipster? According to Urban Dictionary, it is a derogatory term for someone who follows the latest trends. It is possible this man is a hipster. And while he didn't time travel in a machine back to 1940, perhaps he was a man ahead of his time. The thing about hipsters in the 21st century is that they will often deny being one. It's an accusation I'm all too familiar with. It's time for a personal anecdote. When I grew up, I never cared what I wore. When my older cousins sent me a bunch of hand-me-downs, those clothes dominated my wardrobe. Cool button-down shirts with funky patterns from the 70s and 80s. When I went on to a prestigious art school in the late 2000s, I found myself fitting in oddly well. See, most other people were dressed like me, and I started thinking I was finally fitting into society. That was until I got accused of being a hipster. From then on out, I insisted on being clean-shaven, as any beard or facial hair could lead people to suspect that these were not in fact legitimate hand-me-downs, and that I in fact put zero effort or thought into them, but that they are actually expensive clothes that I carefully selected at the local trendy thrift market. For shame! But enough about me and my painful trauma of being called a hipster. Why am I still talking about hipsters in the year 2020? Where did hipsters come from, and where did they go? Well, it's like I said. Perhaps the true hipsters were like me and didn't give a fuck about how they looked and listened to obscure 7 inches with their few friends. Perhaps this look turned into a kind of trend. But, interestingly enough, the term hipster originates from the 1940s. The same era the time-traveling hipster photograph was taken. Perhaps this man truly was a hipster. A hipster, according to Time magazine, was another term for a hepcat. You could tell by the way someone dressed, by the slang they used, and by their relaxed attitude if they were a hipster or hepcat. But who was the first hipster? That title goes to a man who went by the name Harry Gibson, a jazz singer and pianist who wrote songs about the latest trends in jazz. Quote, "At the time, musicians used jive talk amongst themselves, and many customers were picking up on it. One of these words was hep, which described someone in the know. When lots of people started using hep, musicians changed to hip. I started calling people hipsters and greeted customers who dug the kind of jazz we were playing as all you hipsters. Musicians at the club began calling me Harry the Hipster, so I wrote a new tune called Handsome Harry the Hipster." Quote, Harry Gibson from Everybody's Crazy But Me.
Call him Handsome Harry the Hipster. He's the boy with all the chicks. He played piano like mad and sing the sad. He digs those mellow kicks. They call him Handsome Harry the Clipster, 'cause he'll hype you for your gold. He's radical fanatic with jive, he's an addict, I don't know. I was only told. And every night you find him around the club.